Hi. For those of you who were not able to be at the conference in Chicago this last year, I wanted to share some information with you. And we give out a handout of information every year at the conference, or this is how we've been doing it the last few years, because there's a lot of information that we have that you just need a paper copy of as a reference. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can read the list of features or the list of data, and it's much more efficient for you to have the piece of paper than for me to go through and talk item by item. However, a little orientation to what the information is helpful, and so hopefully you have the PDF paper file as you watch this, which you can get from Annis. I'll show you her email at the end of this if you don't already have it. But she hopefully sent that to you with the link. And let me go through the handout very briefly with you. So this is the handout for 18p-. And if you have ever heard me give a talk before, you've seen these diagrams many times. And so let me explain for those of you who are new. So at the top of this diagram is an ideogram of chromosome 18. Shown here, here's the P arm, here's the centromere right here, and this is the Q arm. So anyone with any deletion of any size anywhere from this part of the chromosome has 18p-. And in this particular case, the ideogram of chromosome 18 here has a red box, and the red box is around the P arm, and that indicates that what's below that box, in this box, is just the P arm of chromosome 18. And what I'm showing you are data from our molecular analysis of those people enrolled in the study. And at this point, we have about 120 people with 18p- enrolled. And so this isn't everyone here, but it's a pretty good representation. It doesn't change substantially. And so the pink bar is the part of the intact chromosome that the individual has. Here's their studies numbers right here. And so this again just shows the P arm. So this person's deletion is really just the end of the P arm. They have intact all of this part of the P arm, and then of course all the rest of the Q arm, which we're not showing. These people here at the bottom below this red line, these people all have breakpoints at the centromere. So even though these breakpoints are somewhat different, there are no genes in this region. So genetically speaking, these people here have the same genetic difference. And so that's the 18p centromere group. So their breakpoints at the centromere, and they're missing the entire P arm. This group up here, you can see every single person has a different breakpoint. So they have different number of genes that they have one copy of instead of two. The red part indicates where they have a duplication. So these people are more complicated because they not only have 18p-, but they have 18p+ as well. So they're going to be even have more unique problems from the rest of the group. So you'll see lots of diagrams laid out like this from us. But you can see that pretty much this gives us two groups of people. The group that has 18p centromere breakpoints and those who have non-centromere breakpoints or smaller deletions. Below that are critical regions, and in this case the pink bar shows the region that is missing in everyone who has that condition. So this is the top one is sensorineural hearing loss. Everyone with 18p- and sensorineural hearing loss has this region of the chromosome missing. So we can start to identify where the key genes might be for those key features. So you can read down the list. Everyone with 18p who's enrolled in the study at this point in time has a terminal deletion, which is why all these critical regions go from the end of the chromosome down to some other point on 18p. If we were able to enroll people with interstitial deletions, that might start to make some of these considerably smaller. The rest of the handout's pretty self-explanatory. This is just information from the management guide so that people at the conference had that handy. It's organized with the physical findings to look for in a newborn with the diagnosis. Once there is a diagnosis, here are the referrals that need to be made and the initial physical exams up here that need to be performed when you have a diagnosis. And then the list of things that need to be monitored on an ongoing basis. So it's sort of a cheat sheet for physicians to let them know what to focus on. And then below that are some of the findings seen in more than a quarter of the population. So these again are hints as to what's more likely to be seen and what to keep your eye out open for. This is several kinds of information. The group on the left are people with deletions of the entire short arm. So this is the people with the deletions at the centromere on the left. And on the right are people with deletions of only a part of the short arm. So even though the numbers aren't significantly different, I think you can just read through the list and see, and the reason the number is different, in some cases you can see the age here at the bottom, social impairment. These are younger individuals below 18, and above that are adults, and next to that is the number of those people we have data on. Those numbers differ because different numbers of people responded to the survey or had the test administered to them. So that's why the numbers are somewhat different from group to group, but I think this is kind of self-explanatory. Again, here's the natural history of the people with 18p minus, and again, they're in two different groups. The people with the centromere breaks or the whole arm P-arm deletions are listed here, and the ones with smaller deletions are listed here. And so you can just read the number that live with their parents or the number that live in a group home, etc., how many have some sort of employment. At the bottom of this page are the current ages of participants and the age at which those participants who have died, the age at which they died. You can see here, so this is about 120 individuals, so every blue diamond shows their current age of the people enrolled in the study. You can see it's a pretty young group, mostly under 40, really, and even those are mostly under 20 for the largest number. Only 2 individuals have died at these ages, and what we know about the cause of death is listed below that. So few, the good news is so few people have passed away with 18p minus that we can't give you data about the most common cause because there isn't a common cause that we know of so far. But that's one of the things that we will keep track of over the many years to come as individuals get older. That hopefully that will provide information for those families coming later to what to watch for and monitor. This is information about just the centromere group because that's the most uniform group with 18p minus. The top are the list of milestones and the ages they attained those milestones. The green region in each one of these, you can see above each bar is the age in months, and the green region is the typical age someone acquires those skills. And the X shows the average for the 18p minus group, and the ball-headed lines show the entire range of when that skill was acquired within the group. So you can see they are somewhat delayed, but the people acquire the skills in the end for most people, but not for everyone, and those exceptions are written off to the right, so you're going to need the handout, I think, to see those. Below that are IQ scores, and this is my interpretation. I like things color-coded, so you're going to see lots of color-coded things from me. Makes it a lot easier, I think, at a glance to understand what's going on. So in this case, well, in all cases, The either average range or the no problem range is in green. The borderline or the at-risk range is yellow, and the more problematic or severe range is shown in red. And again, the average for the group is shown by an X, and the ball-headed lines show the range of data for the whole group. And again, this is a centromere group, so the people who have deletions of the entire short arm of 18p. And you can see their full-scale IQ is just below the normal range. Oh, what I forgot to point out here is this line is at an IQ of 100, which is average for the population. So, but verbal and nonverbal IQ scores are within, on average, in the low normal range. But again, there's a very wide spread. Verbal IQ from being above average here for some people, and to nonverbal being in the severe to profound area. So there is a broad spectrum here. Below that are a variety of behavioral test measures. And again, it's laid out the same way. Some of these tests, a low score is good, and some a low score is bad. So these are all oriented, so the not problem or good or average score is always to the left, regardless of whether it's a big number or a small number, and shown in green, and the more problematic to the right in red. So you can see with each one of these, each one has a numeric scale, and you can see what the actual numbers are. And again, it's laid out in exactly the same way, so that the average of the group is the X, and the whole range is the ball-headed line. Again, that's other than that, I think you just need to take a little time to look at it, and you can see the numbers of individuals here that we have data on. So relatively, in the grand scheme of things, it's a small number of people, but in the world of rare chromosome abnormalities, it's an astonishingly large number. These are the genes on 18p that we think cause a problem when you have one copy instead of two. There are, I think about 80 genes on 18p, so most we think don't cause a problem. And here's sort of a different sort of a map. Here is the end of the P arm, and here's the centromere right here. These are the number of base pairs, and so here's the gene acronym written here and showing their positions. And the information we know regarding 18p minus is off to the right. And I think that's hopefully self-explanatory. It says what we know about the gene and our data regarding how many people in our cohort actually have this issue or don't have this issue. Again, this, I hope, is something you can just read through, and it doesn't need further explanation from me here. So, if it does need more explanation, please let us know. If you have more questions, additional observations, we want to know about it. What we do is totally guided by what you need to know and the questions you ask us. So please contact Annis Hill, our project manager, and she will either answer the question herself, get you the information, or she'll send your email or your question to the person who can answer it or give the best answer, and make sure they'll get back to you. So thank you so much for your support. Let us know how else we can be of service to you. Thank you. Have a great day.